I was going to do my whole channel originally on this subject.
It says we are now on.
Oh, we're live already. So it goes live quicker than you realise. Originally on the subject. Me mute.
It says we are now on. Got a little echo going on there.
Rex. He's put all the astrological symbols.
Who?
Rex.
Oh, okay.
One of our jokesters that comes in, but he's a nice guy. He's quite knowledgeable himself. Rex. Oh, are you muted, Suzanne?
Yeah, I just fixed it. I was just logging on.
I just called you Suzanne. That's because Suzanne just come in the chat. Hi, Suzanne.
That's okay. All right. I was just getting it all set up so I could see the chat because, hello, everybody. How are you doing? Hi, Denise. You finally caught us. She put on Facebook that she was she wasn't getting the notifications.
Oh, wow.
A lot of people have been complaining about that. I don't know what's going on, but, I got several people who told me on Facebook that they weren't getting notifications for everything. So I really do try to post on Facebook what time and stuff like that. But I actually reached out to a couple of people and told them, hey, this is what time, but just guys, remember it's always on Wednesdays at 8:00 and it's every other week. If I'm, so like next week, it's going to be on my
shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and I've actually noticed I've been unsubscribed to some big channels, some that you in the chat that you might know about and some you might not follow. I was shocked. I was like, hey, hang on a minute. I'm already subscribed to them. What's going on? I've been unsubscribed to some really big channels.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was, people that have the ability to, what does Rex call them? Gremlins,
Or hackers. Yeah. I don't know. It's like, I was like, and there's a few channels. And one is a narcissism channel. He's a British guy. And I'm always clicking the bell. It's always unclicked every time I go.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
Very strange.
So,
all right. Lots of people are coming in, you guys. So, hi. How are you doing?
And
we're going to be talking about spiritual narcissism today. So, this will be a fun and interesting conversation today.
Yeah, this is a big subject that I was going to base my whole channel on this before I actually was guesting with Heidi originally, and then she encouraged me to start doing a channel. I was actually going to do it purely on narcissism, not because I'm an expert, but I've been there. But the reason I didn't go down there, I thought, would it just attract too much drama into my life? And I sort of decided not to go that way, but I guess we can incorporate it at times through Iron Substance Exchange channel. I think it's been took down, hasn't it?
I'm happy to catch you. I'm glad you guys have caught us live too. So this is awesome. It looks like tonight's going to be a good night. Hey, you guys, next week it's going to be on my channel. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. It's Michelle Thompson Life Coach. I'm sure the link will be in there.
If it is, it will be. Your channel is there, yeah.
All you have to do right there, I'll say subscribe here to my channel. And anyway, so all you have to do is just click on my name and then it'll go right to it. So if you haven't done that, go ahead and do it because you don't want, I think that's part of the reason why you guys haven't gotten the notifications is because it was on my channel last week. And it was really interesting because we only had like 13 people on. And and that was still really good because everybody was really active. But it was a busy night. There was a lot of live shows going on. But then later I got so many comments about people telling me, I didn't know. And so I think sometimes there's a little bit of a confusion on which channel. So just remember next week, it's going to be on my channel. So make sure you subscribe so you get the notifications. Okay.
Yeah. We alternate it every week to make it fair.
Okay. So if you're new, my name is Michelle Thompson. This is Trisha G. And this, the show that we do on Wednesday nights is always on spiritual matters. We love for you guys to give us suggestions on anything that you would like us to talk about. And, we're always willing to, you guys are the audience. You guys are the ones that want to learn. You're the ones that we're feeding the information to. So if there is a topic that you really want to know more about, just put it in the comments and we'll review it and decide whether we're going to do it. And that's how we actually came up with this topic for today, was because somebody in the audience actually said that they wanted us to do it on spiritual narcissism. So yeah. So anyway,
Anton actually that said, and that probably because he knew it was right up my alley as well. Yeah, it was Anton's choice, so we went with this purely because it's a big interest as well. And I feel it's so important because, okay, I want to make a disclaimer. If we mention the church, we mention YouTube, this is not to pick on anybody, any religion or anything like that. But it's rife in these communities, and unfortunately it's rife everywhere, but tonight we're talking about more the spiritual community. So it's not a dig, this is more to educate you, because I've learned this from other people. I didn't have all this knowledge before. But where was I going with this? But yeah, and especially on YouTube, anywhere where someone's got a platform where they are going to have narcissistic supply, which is you and your energy, it's a breeding ground for narcissists. Now, not every spiritual healer and teacher out there is going to be a narcissist, because they're not, but there are a lot. Mm-hmm. Because like anybody in politics, high positions are more drawn to that. They're more likely to be narcissistic. And I know there is a scale, but we're talking about the real dangerous ones, that really can screw your life up, especially if you're already vulnerable. And the chances are, not all cases, but if you've fallen into the traps of spiritual narcissists, you've probably grown up with one, you've probably got a parent that's one, unfortunately, or a grandparent. And also I want to say to you, we talked about this before about, was it Dr. Shayla? No, it was Dr. Shayla, I brought it up, about people wearing empathy as a badge of honor. There's nothing wrong with empathy, because that's a good thing. But your empathy is going to be your, that's where you're a target. That's your weak. It's not a weakness, but to a narcissist, it is a weakness. And you are like new meat, fresh meat to them. They love empathic people. And that can be, you can still be empathic, but have boundaries, because they will just eat you up and spit you out if you're, wear this empathy as a badge of honor. And I've seen it. And Dr. Shayla agreed, and she calls them hijackals. It's a really good interview, actually. Mm-hmm. She deals with these type of people all the time. I want to talk about that for a second. What do you mean by that when you say that? Because I'm sure a lot of people are questioning that. When you say empathy as a badge of honor, what does that mean? We hear so many people say,
what is it? I mean, I know what it means, but what does it mean to you? Like, what are you saying?
To me, when I see people going around saying, oh, I'm such an empath, and that's why I'm always, I know some people are gonna not like this, but I'm such an empath, and it's like I'm such a great person because I'm an empath, but I've got a really crap life and people really hurt me, and I become like a victim as well as being this. Most people have a level of empathy, unless you're a sociopath or a psychopath. Mm-hmm. But I see, particularly in the spiritual community, so many people, oh, I'm such an empath, and I can't stand it, because to me they're like sitting ducks, they're sitting targets, mm-hmm. and then they're crying when they've been taken advantage by a narcissist. But even it's having boundaries. Be empathic with people, but be smart about it. Like, they will eat you up. That's, to me, it's like they're wearing a badge of honor. Almost, it's like being a bit of a martyr, I guess, as well.
Okay.
That's what it is to me.
Yeah. No, I kind of figured that that's what you meant. And I know exactly what you're saying, because I hear more frequently than not that people, that when they say they're an empath, oh, well, I'm an empath, and they just don't like being around crowds, and they it's kind of like it reminds me of a show I did one time where I said, don't take ownership of your diagnosis. And it's like, basically, when a person says, for instance, I just had a conversation with my client today about this. It's like, when you take ownership of your diagnosis, and you've been diagnosed as bipolar, and you take ownership of that, then you become that, whether or not they were right or wrong or whatever. I mean, this guy he's in his 40s and he got diagnosed when he was in his teens. So, I mean, it could have been a misdiagnosis, could have been hormones, it could have been all kinds of stuff. And now he's carrying that around, and that's his excuse for his behavior. No matter what, he gets into the habit of behaving that way. And it's the same thing with empaths. It's like, oh, well, I'm an empath. I can't do this, and I can't be around negative people, and I can't go to parties, and I can't do this, and I can't. Oh, that's just too hard on me. And I'm an empath too. I'm probably one of the most strongest empaths anybody's ever met. I mean, I literally have learned how to control it to where I use it for my advantage. I step into people, I feel them, and then I feel like, what are they all about? Like,
but you don't play the victim like some of them do.
Right. I use it to help me understand the client that I'm with. I use it to help when a client of mine is dealing with issues with their husband or a spouse or something like that. I'll just step into their spouse for a second, and I go, okay, everything that you're thinking is wrong. He's actually just really busy or whatever. And so, like, sometimes I can use that to help calm them down. Like, I just stepped into his energy, and that's not true. And so being an empath can be an amazing power that you guys can use. It doesn't have to be a curse. And so I think what you're talking about, like, as a badge of honor thing, it's kind of like owning your diagnosis. It's like the excuse, or you play the victim, or you become the martyr. And that is a placeholder for somebody to take advantage of you in a flat second. You're absolutely right.
And that's what you just said then, that they're using being an empath as an excuse. Like, I've seen it all over Facebook. Well, I'm an empath from this. I find it really, like, I'm not unkind and I'm not unfeeling, but I just want to, like, shake people and say, and especially when it comes to narcissists or sociopaths, you might as well lay yourself to be, taken advantage of, or, anybody like that. They love that, especially if you're, what's the word I'm looking for? If you're shouting it from the hilltops, I'm an empath, come and get me. It's like, and I think, like Arlie and Jay said, the term empath has become very trendy. Like, twin flames become very trendy. I feel there's certain, and one that comes to me today is, I've been watching something about targeted individuals. I think that is another, I'm not saying they don't exist. I feel it's just another label, these new age labels. I get quite on my soapbox about narcissism.
No. Keep going. You're doing great. I totally get it. I mean, I'm on the same page, but I don't know that everybody really understands why it's a problem. And I think that maybe might be the thing that you should kind of go into about how can a spiritual narcissist actually take advantage of an empath? Like, at what point, Trisha, is that going to actually impact their life in a negative way?
So, for example, we'll give some examples. Like, the church is a huge one. And I'm sorry if anybody goes to church and this is not, there's good churches out there, but there's a lot. I mean, we've seen it, the sexual abuse, all the abuses across the thing with churches, and they're in a position, some of them do think they're God, and they're preaching to they're preaching to people. And another thing is, so we'll give some examples, and then we'll show examples of, like, they're not practicing what they preach. They're preaching this holier than thou life, but behind closed doors, they're abusing children or they're beating their wife. And this could not just be the church, Gurus, spiritual gurus who, there's those out there, healing, people that do healing. And this is not everybody that does this. I don't know what the percentage would be, but, I'm just covering some examples. Religious leaders, the cults out there, people that do what I do, mediums.
Wait, hold on. Somebody just said something, and that's interesting. Gary and Jay, my experience is that spiritual leaders use empaths as battery packs to feed their narcissism.
Oh yeah, you are like a drug to them. You are the fuel. That is a really, I've never seen it put that way, but that is exactly it. Is you are energy. They need your energy. And that's why the bigger the congregation, the bigger the following, whatever it is, the more energy they're going to get.
Well, one of the things that I was actually thinking about was, okay, so an empath is a person that can feel other people's feelings. Okay, so if spirit, you know, a spiritual leader has abilities, for instance, like to send energy, they can send something to the empath and make them feel as though they get confused about whether it's their feelings or not. You see what I'm saying? And it can lead them down the wrong path.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can see how that could be a problem where they're like sending an emotion to them. And, you know, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've known like gurus who could do that, who could like control their emotions and decide, I'm going to send that to you. Yeah. And then say, why are you feeling fear? Like,
well, I felt it myself from people.
Yeah.
You know, so it could be anything to do under the spiritual spectrum, whether they're, I've seen it in, I've known people that have gone to spiritual circles, they've gone to learn Reiki, and there's amazing people out there that are brilliant teachers, and they want their students that, because what you're doing is you're really just reminding them what they've forgotten. That's my sort of mantra. I don't claim to have all the knowledge. I'm just helping you remind what you've forgotten. And I've seen in spiritual churches and Reiki practitioners, when they see their students or the people that are paying maybe even better than they are at doing it, then they start with the gaslighting, the put downs, you know, you'll never be. I've had clients come to me like in tears, like questioning everything. And I'm straight away saying, no, that is not how a teacher should be. That's not healthy. You need to get away from that person, quite frankly.
You know, so I'm a Reiki master, and my very first Reiki class that I took, the woman, I mean, you know, because I had already done different types of healing and studied it. And I really wanted something a little bit more formal. And I wanted to get certified and find a place where I could get certified to actually start teaching. And so I decided that I was going to go that route. And so when she asked us to talk about ourselves, I was talking about, okay, well, I've done this and this and this. And she just like yelled at me. And I mean, literally like in front of the whole class, like started screaming at me and told me, you cannot mix two different types of healings. And I was like, okay, I never said I was going to. And then one time I was about to do a healing on somebody who really needed some help. And I was a newbie. And she was always talking about like everybody throwing out Reiki at the same time if you needed it and it's more powerful. So I went into the Reiki chat room and I said, look, I'm about to do a healing on somebody. I'm about to do a session and I'm going to ask everybody, it's at, 7:00. And if everybody could just throw some energy in that direction, she really needs it. Well, she private messaged me and said, Michelle, you're not planning on doing all these different types of healings, are you, together? Because that's not okay. And I'm not going to support that. And I was just like, no, I never said that. I said I was about to do a Reiki session. And I mean, she just like, rah, she
probably thought she was losing control of her thing, of what she was teaching.
That's the thing was, I never at one point ever said that I was ever going to behave that way or do that. I just wanted to learn this technique. And I felt that she was emotionally terrorizing me, But
she would have been so terrified in you, not that you were doing anything to try and that you were going to like probably take over, be better, like you were breaking the paradigm that she'd already, because they're so terrified of not being in charge, not being in control.
Mm-hmm.
And if they see the slightest whiff of somebody that might just, whether they mean to or not, that's when they start like swooping in and trying to shut you down or belittle you. I've had so many clients come to me, and these women were in tears. They're like, you know, questioning everything, questioning their own like gifts. And quite frankly, they were probably more gifted than the person, you could say, or at a higher level, let's say.
Well, of course, they're going to make you feel bad because that's the way that they boost their ego. And they need you to, they need these spiritual narcissists, they need you to follow them, because they get their power and their strength from your worship. It's like they feel as though they're a god, and so they need that worship, they need that power. And the more the energy that you're putting towards them and doing for them, and but one of the signs that I feel is, and I know that churches do this, and I know a lot of gurus do this, but they basically make you feel like shit if you don't do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Like in church, it will be, oh, you haven't been coming to church very much lately, or something like that. Or I haven't seen you, you're not coming to Sunday school, or you're not doing volunteer work, or something like that. They'll like really throw at you, all the things that you're not doing and make you feel bad. I had a client once that he was a male client of mine who was dating a woman who was involved in a church where the pastor was a spiritual narcissist. I mean, and it was really bad. And she was really entwined in it. And to where he was coming to me trying to figure out ways that he could break this, because I mean, it was really bad. So basically the pastor convinced her that, now she'd been dating this guy for 7 years. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he told her he would marry her. And she said, well, I'm not ready to get married yet, but I do want to marry you someday. And so anyway, so they've been dating a long time. And the pastor convinced her that because she was having sex outside of a marriage, that is why her business wasn't doing well and God was punishing her. Wow. And then he told her, so then she stopped having sex with him. And, that was one of the reasons why he came. He was like, oh my God, what do I do? Yeah. And she stopped having sex. She's like, I can't have sex with you because God's punishing me. And so then after that, so after she stopped having sex with him, the pastor starts telling her that it's because you're being punished because you're involved in somebody that's not equally yoked. Okay. So that's a terminology that they use. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a term that a lot of religious practitioners use, where they say equally yoked. That means that you're on the same page.
Right.
And so he was saying that the only way for your business to ever do well is for him to get saved, and he needs to be an active member of the church and tithing. Well, I think a lot of that came from the fact that the pastor probably figured out that the guy made a lot of money.
Oh, and,
yeah. And wanted a piece of that.
Like
so
10% or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So there was a lot, and so I told him, I said, if you love her at some point in time, this is going to work out. Okay. And she loves you and all that kind of stuff. And some of this will probably fall to the wayside and she'll get tired of it. And I said, so why not just kind of play along and tell her, yeah, I got saved or something like that, and go to church with her a few times or whatever. And so he kind of did that. And then she said, no, it has to be sincere. And now my pastor told me that I can't marry you unless you are really saved and sincere and willing to dedicate and tithe and everything. So the pastor's like telling her she can't get married. She can't have sex. She can't, she can't, telling her all these things. And honestly and truthfully, it all sounded like it was about money. And you know, oh, it's because you're not giving enough money. It's not because you're tithing. God's punishing you because of this. God's punishing you, you know.
But God wouldn't punish. I mean, I'm not a religious person, but God's a true God is not going to punish you. That's all BS. But that's part of the gaslighting and to get you hooked in. I mean, she's totally given away her power to him. She should have. But because, so for an example like that, they feel that this, say, pastor has really helped them or healed them or got them to a higher level. They become then it's almost like, what do I call it? What do they call it when it's like trauma bonding? Like, I'll think of it in a minute. You know, when people have been abducted or held hostage, what's that? What do they call it when they've been held hostage and then they start protecting the person that's took them hostage? There's a term for it, and I can't remember what it's called.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know what the term is.
Somebody will probably put it in the chat. It'll come to me in a minute. There's a certain Ali and Jay's on Stockholm syndrome. I feel there's also like a Stockholm syndrome happens with a lot of these healers, leaders, cults. And that was another thing. They become very protective of them. So anybody that comes from the outside, or say your partner is not on board and they start to question things. I've seen it on YouTube. You question somebody who is talking absolute fear porn and BS, and they've got following, and you dare question it, they all jump on you like you are because they don't want you to shake that paradigm that maybe that person I've been following is actually full of BS, and I have took it all in. I've seen it happen on YouTube a lot. Oh,
I have too.
Anybody that they've obviously so followed this person and they've believe that's
the pack mentality.
Yeah.
You know, the sheep, you know, you find your clique, you find your group, you find your tribe, and you're happy with that, and you don't want anybody coming in and rocking the boat. And sometimes that's good when an outsider comes in and they say something that is rude or mean or whatever. I mean, I've seen that happen on Jeff's channel, for instance. Somebody
but when you're just questioning the whole, you know, not being horrible, but you're just posing a question, and then they just fly on you like vultures. It's happened to me. And I was like, whoa, like these people are so blind. It's just, and it wasn't anybody, you know, that we sort of kind of watch. But it just, that's another example when everybody comes to their defense. You know, it's almost like they're a victim. The narcissist is an actual victim themselves. Because so there's different types. There's the one that will act the victim, and they'll all be like, oh, poor me, my life's so bad. There's those type, because you wouldn't imagine that they would want to admit that their life is not great. So there's different types.
Well, then, but the narcissist is going to save their life. They're going to make them better because as long as you follow me.
But some of the narcissists will play the pity party and like to keep the followers like feeling sorry for them and protecting them
but you know, I mean, there's a certain, you know, I guess there's a certain level of what I would call truth, and there's a certain level of narcissism because I would hope to think, I don't want to like put my foot in my mouth that I'm not a narcissist. But I have been guilty of saying, if you follow my program, not spiritualism stuff, but if you follow my program and you do these things, I promise you that you're going to do much better, because it is just proven scientifically that if you do certain things, you can reprogram your brain. I don't consider myself a narcissist because I'm not expecting a following. I'm expecting them to come and leave and go away. You know, it's like you spend a certain amount of time with me, and like 4 to 6 months, and that's it. And then you're good to go. And then that's it.
Also, a narcissist wouldn't go to therapy. If you've ever had therapy, you probably wouldn't even be sat here talking about it. You're not a narcissist.
Well, I was just sitting here going, whoa, maybe I'm a narcissist.
I've even questioned. I have followed this sort of stuff for years, my own like stuff from my past, you know, trying to figure out why certain people acted the way they did. It wasn't in a spiritual sense. I even said, am I a narcissist?
Well, I guess a lot of times, you know, when you start looking at the psychology of things, you always end up
when you go deep,
asking yourself, you go deep, and you start looking at yourself and going, hey, am I this way? And I really do try to be very cautious when, I mean, because I am a spiritual teacher as well. So I have several different paths that I go on with my clients. I have some that are this way and some are this way. But when I'm teaching spiritually and helping somebody, I'm teaching them techniques and I'm teaching them knowledge and I'm helping them grow. But I am absolutely not going to tell them this is the way. Like, I always try to get them in touch with their inner self, the higher self, or something to where they can learn how to get the answers themselves. I do not ever want somebody to go, okay, channel Gabriel now, and and tell me the answers, pull him up. I've had people do that to me before. They're like, call him, ask him. And I'm just like, and it makes me want to go, no, I don't want to. And if you guys, I don't know if you know or not, but that's probably one of the first times I've actually said that out loud online. But for many years, I've actually been working with Gabriel, but mostly on a one-on-one basis, but and a couple of others as well. But that's the primary one that I work with. But most of the time, I usually have Gabriel, like, usually if I'm not sure what to say and I'm like in a tough situation with a client, I literally like say in my head, okay, don't know what to do here. Go ahead and take over. And I just kind of like, and it's just a smooth transition. They never know. I never tell. And it's usually like, and sometimes that energy just jumps in and I kind of like just step back. I mean, on its own, and it has the free will to be able to do that. But I rarely ever tell anybody anymore, because if I go and tell somebody, I mean, that's immediately what they want to do. And and the reason I feel so strongly about that is because of what you're saying. I don't want to be worshipped. I don't want somebody asking me because I'm the all, see all, have all the answers. You've got to find those answers within yourself. And if somebody is telling you that they have the answers, they're a narcissist, because you've got to find that yourself, and you need to learn. And that's one of the reasons we're here, is to teach you guys how to get to that place. You need to learn how to do it yourself. I mean, don't you agree with that? I mean,
and also like the signs to look out for in somebody that you might want to work with, or you might follow on, not just YouTube, anywhere, or, even if it's face to face. One that will always say, like, has some tips here that I'll read out, because I did make notes, because otherwise it's keeping it all in. So they'll say that they're always right and you're wrong. So they'll always have to be right. You can't question them. This happened to me as well. Somebody, and they're not a healer, as in a paid for healer. I saw you in my dream. I had a vision about you. So they're coming to warn you. Or I had a dream about you. I had a vision about you. Somebody actually did that to me. I'm not going to name names. And I have got it on recording to prove I'm not making that up. And red flags were going off left, right, and center in my head. Like, they were like, I've had a dream about you, about your channel. It's going down the pan. Like, your reputation's gone down the pan. And I was like, really?
That's just putting negative energy out, and and that's how psychics work most of the time anyway, is they'll say something and they'll put that fear in you, and then you become a self-fulfilled that prophecy gets fulfilled because you're thinking about it. Like, you're going to get into a car accident. So it's like, now you're thinking and you're scared, and then all of a sudden you get so nervous that you actually screw up. And
luckily I went, that's BS. I'm not accepting that. You're deluded. Like, and a lot of people, most people in here would know this person, but I'm not going to name them just in case.
Yeah, but you know what, Trisha, the thing about that is you got to consider the source. I mean,
oh yeah, but this is
that particular person, that person considers themselves psychic.
Yeah, but this is a sign of a spiritual narcissist that will do that.
But that's like dark energy. And here's the other thing, you guys. This is another little tidbit, is just because somebody's psychic doesn't mean that their energy is coming from the light.
Oh, no.
It could be dark energy. So you've got to look at the person and look at their life. And so like the fruit of their life is going to tell you what kind of energy that they're putting out. So if they have loving people in their life, if they're happy, if they're not having financial struggles all the time, if they're constantly not dealing with, if they're dealing with all these issues, that means they have dark energy. Okay. And they're going to be channeling dark energy, and they're going to be reading from dark energy. But if they're happy and loving and have happy friends, and their career's prospering, or they're doing really well in their life, you're going to find that energy is much lighter. It's that you can't have, darkness cannot sit in light. And when light comes in, darkness doesn't exist. So there's not going to be any of all of that garbage. If you, and that goes to tell you guys, as well, it's like, if you've got a lot of issues going on in your life, there's a lot of darkness around you. And that means that you just got to start working on clearing that up. And don't go hire a psychic to do it.
I just want to warn people, because I've had a few people do that over the years, like, oh, I had a dream about you, and it really like question, especially, that's what Anton said. I had a dream that I was watching YouTube with Trisha, and then I was eating McDonald's. Like, I've had certain dreams, but I wasn't like claiming like, oh, I've seen your downfall and all this. It was just like a repeating of a dream. There's a difference between. So I'm just laughing at Anton's dream, because I did have a similar dream, but it wasn't like, oh, I'm professing your doom and gloom kind of thing. So be careful of that. Righteousness is another one. They don't practice what they preach. So they may be coming on camera, if it's YouTube, Facebook, whatever platform it is, TV.
So that's kind of like what I was just saying a minute ago. It's like, you got to look at their life, practicing what you preach.
Yeah, but they may appear to be this perfect pillar of community, and behind the closed doors, they're beating their wife, they're abusing their children, or they're still, make sure that their life behind closed doors, if you can, matches what they show to you in the public eye. Because I always say that, practice what you preach. That's a big one for me.
Well, and that was actually a real catalyst for me in determining which direction and how I was going to go about things in my life. When I decided I was going to go this direction, I'm kind of like a chameleon, I like to change looks. I like to, it's fun for me, and
really?
So, yeah, and so I really was processing, like, what kind of look am I going to have, and all this other stuff, and I actually contemplating getting dreadlocks, wearing the big band around my head. And, it's like, how am I going to go about this, and I really started to, and as I started processing everything, there was a lot of things that I had to start thinking about. And I said, look, and I told myself, if you can't live by this, don't preach it. And, because the last thing that I wanted was somebody to catch me in the act. And
if you lie about who you are, it will come out at some point, because your past will come back. Luckily, I've not done anything that you could class as, I've never been arrested, I've never cheated, I've never, I've not done anything illegal, and I'm not perfect. We've all got things, I'm not a perfect person, I don't claim to be. It's the ones that they claim to be so perfect, and you find out they've got probably a long criminal history, drug addict. And I know there was one guy, and again, I'm not naming names just in case they watch it and they try and sue me or something. This was on TV giving readings. They posed him as this god.
A god?
Literally, he was like the god of this TV program. Nobody could hardly get through to him because he was solid back to back. And he approached me one day, which The red flags went off straight away.
Wait. He approached you?
He approached me because he wanted to do one-to-one private readings because it was more money and he could reach more people, because on TV there's only certain things you can talk about. You can't talk.
Well, how did he know you? How did he approach you?
I worked for the same TV company.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it.
So he contacted me and I was like, oh, you know, at first I fell for the trap. I feel a little bit honored. He's come to me, wants to come on my website because I had it already established, and wants to split 50-50 proceeds. I do all the booking for him. I advertise for him, which wasn't difficult. And he'll split the money 50-50. I get the money in and then I pay him his fee. And I was like, well, this is easy. Like, oh boy, was that one of the biggest mistakes of my life. I put myself, luckily it was all okay, but I put myself in financial danger because I found out this man was not filing his taxes. He'd not filed his taxes for years. So he was involved in my business and we had no contract. It was a verbal agreement.
Mm-hmm.
And he just admitted he sat there. He just a good psychologist. And he was claiming to be this brilliant medium. He was just a good psychologist.
Mm.
I was disgusted. And when he told me that he didn't file his taxes, blah, 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 I was like, right, you got to go. I don't want to be part. You can't be part of this. And this was a man that was painted as this amazing medium and psychic.
Why in the world did he tell you that in the first place?
Well, they slip up, don't they? His partner was going to report him to the Inland Revenue, and I said, well, why would she do that? And he admitted it. They trip up because he probably wanted me to feel sorry for him. And I said, you got to go. No way. You've just put me and my son at risk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you get investigated, I'm going to get dragged in, blah, blah, blah. But the story also is he admitted he was just a good psychologist. Yeah. Okay. And he had women queuing up for readings daily. Now, I'm not saying everybody that does, there's some really talented people out there, but there's some real charlatans. And that was one.
Well, I mean, the thing is if you know human nature, you can pretty much guess the outcome because you see it all the time. But
initially, I was slightly flattered at why would it be? But then I thought, hang on a minute, why would somebody so popular want to come to me and not have his own website? I was a little bit suspicious at that point. I was like, well, we'll see. And there's a reason he didn't want, and he never showed his photograph either, although I've seen what it looks like. Nobody knew what he looked like.
Really? Huh.
Well, a few people did, but the general public didn't. He never showed his picture to the general public. And I was like, whoa, the signs were there from day one. But I was slightly, intrigued to see, is this guy as good as they make him out to be? And he was a complete fraud.
Well, Trisha, I have a confession.
You're a complete fraud.
This is a brunette wig. And I put contacts in, and nobody knows what I really look like.
And let me choke on my coffee. Yeah, I'm always wary when people will never have a photograph of themselves on social media. Not one photograph. Makes me question them. You were flattered. Who wouldn't be? I was flattered that somebody that was so busy and popular wanted to come 50-50 on my website. But then I thought, hang on a minute.
There seems to be a whole conversation going on that's over here that's like...
What, in the chat?
Yeah, there's like a whole, they got their whole other storyline going. It's funny. It's been going for a while.
So that was another example. So he didn't practice what he preached. He was like living a double life. But that was the first example that I'd seen. Trust your gut feeling. If you go to somebody, whether it's the church, whether it's anybody like us, if it doesn't feel right, question it.
Yeah, but the thing is that a lot of times these people are so good at what they do. They feed on your memory. They feed on your weakness. Okay.
They do. Yeah.
And so, like, there was somebody in the chat room that was talking about an issue that was ongoing, and I tried to scroll back, but I didn't want to interrupt you because I was going to address it. But you know, the thing is like when a situation, if a narcissist, a spiritual narcissist gets a hold of something like that, they're going to like leech onto it. And they're, you know, because it's like, oh, I can, you know what I mean? Because that person could appear as being vulnerable. And the thing is that you do not have to have somebody, you can work with somebody to help you and teach you and guide you, but that person is not your master. And that person is not the one that's you need to go within yourself and listen to your higher self, and you need to, you know, but they can, I mean, what I was going to say is you say, listen to your guts. But the problem is that some of these guys are so good, Trisha, that you can't hear your gut. Okay. Because they tap right into your weakness and they play you like a fiddle.
And I've had it done, even, I know we're talking about spiritual narcissism, even people I thought were friends, sometimes they're just, like, you're right, they're so good at it that you can totally get blindsided by these people. But don't beat yourself up if you do ever or have got ever drawn into that. Don't beat yourself up, because that's one thing people often do, because it just gives, you take on the shame of the narcissist, because basically they're just full of shame.
Well, the thing is you've got to recognize it and not feel less than that person. As long as they get you in the position of feeling like you're less than them, or that you need them, and you know, you may need them, you may not need them, but there's always going to be somebody else that has just as much knowledge. Here's the thing. Knowledge is so easy to obtain these days. And I mean, the light just kind of, I don't know what's going on here. Okay. I think that's a little bit better. It is so easy to obtain. You can get the information and all the knowledge that you need. I mean, it's all over the internet. It's in so many books. I mean, everybody's becoming an author, and, you know, so many people are getting their own YouTube channel, and there's so many people that are out there reading ancient scripts, and they're telling you, I mean, they're reading it out loud and they're telling you what it means and all this other stuff. There's so much knowledge out there that if you really, really want to better yourself, the information's there for you to do it. And you can get past, you know, like I think somebody said something about basically kind of like the spiritual vampires kind of thing, and people like sucking their energy. And the thing is that there's like that right there in itself. If you were to go and say something like that to a spiritual narcissist, you would be victim to their prey. I mean, they would just grab you and that would be it. And before you could even blink an eye, you're all like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, bowing and doing all kinds of other stuff and throwing all your money at them. And that's, I mean, and supporting somebody is one thing, you guys, you know, like saying, hey, you know, I'm here to help you. You've been helping us, and kind of do a little gifting here and there. But a lot of times these spiritual narcissists will literally make you feel guilty because you're not feeding their pocket, basically. And there's a difference between what you do for a living and I mean, you can't give everything away for free. I mean, I get that. But if you basically, you need to come up with an agreement. Like, okay, so for instance, like if you were to go to like a mystery school or something like that, look at it from that perspective. They're going to tell you a set fee. This is how much it is. It's X amount of dollars if you want to pay it in full for a year, or you can pay X amount of dollars per month. And it's a flat fee. Now, a spiritual narcissist is going to be constantly trying to get more money out of you. They're going to, oh, well, you need this class now. Oh, well, you need this. Oh, well, you need this. It's kind of like, what is that? Christian Science or science?
Scientology. Oh,
Scientology. Yeah. So once you get into Scientology, they make you like, it's like a huge self-help program. I mean, they like, oh, we have to buy this book now. Now you have to spend this money on this thing. And you can't progress to the next level unless you've done this. And so you have to take this class. And then they don't tell you until they get you looped in, and then you're sort of addicted to it and you have to keep on giving them more money. And I think that a lot of times that's what it is. I mean, some of them it's about money and some of them it's about fame. They need the energy because they need the fame. You know what I mean?
It's the same thing in a way, really. It's just all about, we are potentially just fuel to them or a drug to them, energy to them. They can't stand being, even like these big spiritual leaders, they can't really stand being alone. They have to have this big following and this energy and the fuel.
I'm gonna look at
and I'm not saying everybody that has a big following is a narcissist. So I don't want anyone to take it the wrong way. It's a totally different thing.
Well, absolutely. Look at Wayne Dyer. I mean, he was amazing and he was so giving and so loving, and he wasn't a narcissist. And
another thing is this is some good points. So they claim to have more abilities and connection to source than you do.
Yeah,
so, which is BS, because you potentially could have more than that. It's not a competition. They claim to be more in touch and connected than you. If someone tells you that, that's a big red flag for starters. They don't tolerate other teachers. They don't want to lose your supply. They will discredit other teachers or whatever subject, like a numerologist or astrologer. They'll be discrediting other astrologers because they don't want to lose you. There's enough abundance for everybody. So
I agree with that. It's like, because they feel like they're afraid that you're going to go follow honestly, I'm always talking about different people. And
I would recommend people. Yeah,
exactly. I do the same thing, and I recommend books, and I recommend, I'm always like, here's this YouTube channel you need to subscribe to and go listen to this person. I'm constantly, helping other people with their stuff and helping them, grow. And there's so much outlet. I mean, some people just may say something about a way, and that just because somebody goes over and starts listening to that doesn't mean that you're going to lose them. But those are people that are, I mean, seriously, they're so afraid they're going to lose you that they start criticizing other people because you see what I'm saying? I agree.
They want you to stay with that.
There's enough. I mean, heck, I could sit here and, watch your show with somebody else and then hop on to Jeff's channel right after that. Or maybe I want to catch his live because I haven't been on a live one in a while, and I'll catch the replay with you. I mean, so what?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter, does it? But a narcissist would be highly offended. They'd be put out. They'd be like, you should be watching me, not them, like blah, 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 blah. They have and another thing that's to look out for is, so there's the type that seek pity, then martyrdom. They keep followers hooked. Like I say about the ones that, like, maybe their life's going, which is not all narcissists will admit that their life is not in a good place because they want you to see that their life is perfect. But there are some that will be like, they'll want all their followers to feel sorry. I've seen that as well. Like, they're all feeling sorry for them. They're throwing money at them when this person's probably got plenty of money, but they're pretending to be like destitute. And I've seen that on YouTube.
Well, I've seen that with cults too.
Cults, yeah, it's very cult-like. Yeah,
cults, like they'll do. They'll say,
Manson.
They'll start saying, "We need everybody's help because the government's going to try to shut us down and, blah, blah, blah. And everybody's going to have to do this and you're going to have to work harder and take on 2 jobs and do this, give all your money to us. And, we're about to lose the land because these vicious, horrible people are doing, and they're making out like it's just somebody else outside of, that they're just, But
they're probably stashing the money away and not telling you. That's very.
Or they probably paid up on their bills and they're not going to be foreclosed on. They're just trying to look for something to, but.
Yeah, so there's that type, and they'll have a very protective circle, and you'll see this in the church, like the ones that have been caught for pedophilia and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody swoops around them to protect them. I
never understood that completely. I don't really understand why somebody would protect pedophilia. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense to me. But
well, to me, it doesn't. Pedophilia at all. It's a big subject. But if you were a big person high up in the church and you've been accused of that, for example, I mean, it's pedophilia. I'm saying the American way now is everywhere, so it's not just the church. They're wanting to protect them because they're like, we don't really want people to know that this is really going on, so we're all going to close in and protect. It's hush hush kind of thing because it affects them all. It makes them all look bad.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you completely.
And this about reading scriptures earlier, that can be a red flag as well, because with narcissism, reading scriptures and things is very they don't have to put their heart into it. It's very logical. So if they seem very disconnected and robotic-like when they're reading scriptures, that's another red flag.
Explain to me what you mean.
Well, because reading scriptures can be, anybody can read anything and pretend that they're being, kind and caring, but if they can be very robotic just reading a scripture or something out of a book. There's no heart connection there.
Oh, I see what you're saying. There's no emotional meaning behind really helping you, really get this and stuff like that.
But there are people that will fall for that because they're reading scriptures when really they're not even connected at the heart at this stuff that they're, preaching or whatever.
I don't know. I still think that sometimes they're good pretenders, so they can put emotion behind it and still fool you.
Mm. Oh, yeah. I mean, empathy can be faked with the narcissists as well. Mm. So this is why I don't want anybody to feel bad if they've ever got drawn in, because they can fake empathy. And one of the biggest things is usually narcissists won't go to therapy, but if they do go, they often go and they'll learn all the tricks, and then they're even more dangerous because they're learning, what an empathic human being should be like. So then they just mirror it like a robot, but they don't mean it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, as I process things in my life, I think that there was a situation in my life where I ran into one, and I became aware of the possibility that was going on, but this particular person had so much knowledge that I was willing to hang onto his skirt tail just so that I could actually learn something. And because I felt there was a but there was a lot of I would say a lot of teasing, or what do you want to call it, a lot of, I'm trying to think of the words. Oh my God. It's like, I'm trying to be careful about how I say this. So, because I don't want to hint so much that people figure it out. But there was a little bit of sexual innuendo, like hinting.
Banter kind of thing.
I think there was a lot of hinting around that was something that was wanted. And every time I would say no or get really upset about it, and, because I'm like, hey, you're supposed to be the spiritual teacher here, he would always end up coming back and saying, you have no clue what I'm doing or what I'm saying. This isn't about sex. And so he would always end up counteracting and saying something absolutely the opposite. And I felt like my head was being twisted around, because it was like 1 minute was being said this, next minute was said that. And I'm sure on some levels that was kind of part of his technique to control me. And part of his control gave him a sense of power. And I'm sure that there was, reflecting back, I know there's some narcissism, but I was also aware of what he was doing. And my guides were telling me the whole time what he was doing. And yet I decided to play along because I made that choice because I wanted the knowledge.
Yeah,
and I never met anybody like this before. So I was like, how long can I scoot around this without him finally getting tired of me? And at some point he was just like, all right, we're done. And I think a lot of that was because, I wasn't going to go there.
Yeah, he knew that. They can be very smart and they can have a lot of knowledge that, but it's, as long as you don't fall prey to them is the, is the problem. There are, like I say, narcissists are everywhere, but we just chose the spiritual ones tonight because a lot of people here, they are seeking to let go of old wounds, heal old wounds. We're all, I have my stuff that I work on. But I have to be very careful who I work with, and I'm really picky. Like, I won't just work with anybody. And if I start to get bad feelings, I'll just get out. But I've just noticed so much of it on YouTube, probably because that's the platform it's everywhere, but I'm seeing it so much on YouTube, and I just it really bothers me. And I want to tell people, but I just know that they often either won't want to hear it or they'll protect the person that you'd want to expose.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Somebody just said something. Amanda B. I'm going to read what she said. She said, when you need someone and are given the devil, you're training under the devil.
What's that?
I don't know that I agree with that because I don't necessarily believe in the devil. I think that there's a lot of people that have abilities. They have a lot of information and a lot of skills. And so, for instance, if somebody was going to teach you macrame and they were an old biddy, does that mean that you're going to become an old biddy? This person has the skill and they're teaching you. So I hear what you're saying, but I don't necessarily agree with it because I was totally aware of the situation and completely understand. But dark intentions and for self-good, I agree. And I was totally aware.
She said not the devil.
She said, but dark intentions and for self-good. I agree that there was some alternative. I was very aware of it, and this was many years ago, and I'm not gonna lie and say that. You could sit here and say that I was being dark. Okay, you could go that direction because you could say that I was having my own self intentions and willing to cross over into that space and to gain something that I wanted. Is that dark? I guess it's really about perception. It's about how you see it. And in those days, in those times, I wasn't as knowledgeable. I wasn't as spiritual. I was just a little wounded puppy that wanted stuff and wanted to learn. And I hadn't done my self-healing at the time. And I was very vulnerable, and somebody came along that thought that they could take advantage. But on so many levels, I will tell you this, Amanda, is that every single day of my life, I thank him. I'm very aware of what was going on, but that man changed my life. And he really helped me in so many different ways. He helped me release all the darkness that was inside of me. And so sometimes it takes a person that behaves like that to be able to address it and see it and be able to just move it out of you. And so I'm not going to judge that person whatsoever. I'm thankful that this person helped me. And so, you know, it is what it is. I was just, you know,
I think Kathy said ages ago, right at the beginning, that she's now a Reiki master, and she came across the two what you could call narcissistic teachers. But,
there you go. Exactly. That's right.
But she says they've taught me who I mean, to me, you're right. She probably wouldn't have been a narcissist anyway, but it's shown her what she doesn't want to be or who she doesn't want to be. You know, how not to be. But I do feel also, you know, you're either a narcissist or you're not. So chances are Kathy wasn't going to be like that anyway.
I mean, the chances of these people in this position of not being a narcissist is very slim. And so, I mean, it's just not very often that you're going to run into somebody, you know, like that because the power will get to somebody. And, you know, there's an interesting book. What is it called? I think it's just called God or, Finding God. I don't know. I'll definitely put it in the, once this is over, I'll put, if anybody's interested, I'll put it in the bottom chat, not in the live chat, but in the, but anyways, in this book, it talks about the evolution of the soul, and it talks about the evolution of God, and it gets into a lot of different stuff, but it when it's talking about your soul and how it progresses and where you're going, it eventually what ends up happening is that when you get to a point where you understand your power and you gain all that power, most people go dark. And it said that is the ultimate test, when you've got all the power in the universe and not going dark. Because in the way this book said, and I mean, I'm just kind of just talking about books. I'm not saying I agree with it, but it said that, you know, if you fail that test, you start all over.
Well, it'd be interesting. Like, would we be the same people if we had 10 million viewers on YouTube? That's a good test. Are we still being the same people we were at this level? And when we get to 10 million, would we still be? Then you can tell that, you know, to me, like, if you're still treating people and you're still acting pretty much the same at 10 million subscribers, not viewers, subscribers. But a lot of people, but the ones that are predisposed to it they'll just abuse that popularity.
Well, see, and that's the whole thing, is fame gets to people. And so it tarnishes a person. It brings them to a different level. It makes them think, oh, well, because I'm great, you should want me, or because I'm great, you should listen to me. I have all the knowledge. I'm a master. I'm an ascended master. I know this. I've done this. I can do this. I mean, if a person can literally like move things with their mind, they can alter reality. They can shut down a police department's computer system. If a person can do these things, that power can get to them. Okay. And I mean, really get to them. I mean, seriously. And so, and honestly and truthfully, I know for a fact that this person has altered that behavior. And I ended up discovering this because apparently, I guess he learned his lesson, but that behavior is not being repeated anymore. And so somehow or another he learned, okay. And it's not my job to point it out. It's not my job to judge. It's not, all I'm going to do is value the gift that he gave me. I'm going to use it for good. And I'm going to, you know, I mean, you know, it's funny because I was having it. This is so weird because our conversations always end up going somewhere else. But I actually was having a conversation with my husband one day, and I was talking to him about magic. And I said, I really would love to learn magic. And this was years ago. And I said, I really want to learn to love magic. I said, but the problem is that the people that teach magic, they're kind of dark. And I said, or they're sort of way in the fence, you know, they're sort of like dark and light, and they kind of sit on the fence, and they're sort of like, they could tip this way or that way, you know? And I said, I'm just not sure how I feel about that. And if I became you know, a magician, I was going to say magician.
I think we're all magicians, but as well as,
if I asked him, I said, if I became, you know, magical, and I used, you know, and I got all this knowledge, I said, would that make me dark? Would it be dark if I was practicing it? And I was like asking him all these questions, like we were really having a serious conversation. And because I was really concerned about it. And he goes, Michelle, everything in life is a choice. And just because you have the power doesn't mean you have the power to do bad.
Exactly.
And he said, you can use it for good things. Just because you know how to do bad things doesn't mean you have to do those bad things. And he said, he reminded me of martial arts. And he was talking about how he got like a black belt in martial arts. And he goes, I am a licensed killer. Literally on paperwork, it says that I'm, you know, like on certain things and certain things that I do in places, I have to write that down or it's a federal offense or whatever, or something like that. He goes, because he's a licensed killer. So he literally can never, ever, ever throw a punch first. And he said, or he can be thrown in jail. And
it's supposed to be used as self-defense, isn't it?
Not right. Exactly. And he said, I have the knowledge and the ability to hurt somebody and kill somebody with one shot. He goes, just because I have it, I've never done it. And so he kind of explained that to me. And that's kind of the approach that I felt when I was learning different things. It's like, okay, I'm going to take this knowledge and I'm going to be grateful that I got it. And, you know, and kind of look at it from that perspective and utilize it for good. And that's what I've done.
Exactly. To me, it's like anything, it's what you do with it, whether you're going to use it for good or bad. You know, whether you're a hypnotherapist, are you going to use it to help people or abuse people? You know, whatever it is, like it is a choice. And when, you know,
I mean, I'll tell you something. I mean, half the time, I mean, when I went to, okay, so when I was taking the Reiki class, she said you always have to ask somebody's permission. I don't ask for people's permission. Sometimes I just do it because sometimes their religion may stop me. And so basically, if they're in my office, they've given me permission. So this lady comes in, she goes to church every Sunday. She has this problem with her brain. Her brain is actually growing. It's still growing. And her skull has stopped growing. And so it puts a lot of pressure on her head. And so I told her, I said, why don't you come lay down on my table? I put a bunch of magnets on her head and I put my hands on her head and started doing Reiki. She didn't even know what Reiki is. Okay. I just started doing it. And I used my abilities to be able to heal her. And I used other techniques that I have and other things that I know that I learned from this spiritual master. And I stopped the pain. She called me up and she says, I don't know what all you did. I don't really even understand it. She goes, but ever since I found out about this, in the past like 5 years, I haven't had a day without a headache. And she goes, I've gone a whole week now without a headache. And so there it is. You know, you're taking somebody's pain away. And I've done that so many times. Like I just walked up to somebody when they were saying they're hurting and I just put my hand on them and I take the pain away. And so having that ability to be able to heal somebody or help them, just because it came from somebody who might have been a narcissist, doesn't mean that I have to be.
Oh, no, absolutely not. To me, everything in life is a choice. You can choose to whatever you've got for good or bad. And anybody that claims this, something that, I'd say to them, no, it was a choice. You chose, like they say, you're going to choose the red pill or the blue pill. You make a choice. You know, if you want to.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Shannon.
If you want to be like, an unethical person, that was your choice. Nobody else's. You can't blame anybody else but yourself.
I agree. And the thing is that we all have darkness in us. Okay. Every single one of us. And it is our job to actually embrace that darkness, nurture it, love it, and let it dissipate outside of us so it can heal. And so, for any person that immediately judges that, then you've got to understand that there's some inside of you as well. And so you can't judge somebody else's darkness. That's why I didn't judge this man's darkness, because I've got it in me. You have it in you. Y'all have it in every one of you guys. It's like Christ said, here I go quoting scriptures. Sorry. I'll do it with passion. Okay. Christ said, throw the first stone. Ye who without sin, throw the first stone. And he said that because he was saying that none of us are without sin. No, and I hate the word sin, but we're none of us are without fault. None of us are
perfect.
Free, are perfect. Exactly. We're just here helping each other to get better. And so if you think you're perfect, then you're probably a narcissist, Yeah, probably. Because, or in denial or something, because everybody has it. And so we have, you have the option of choosing which direction you want to go. Mm. I told that to everybody. I even told that to my daughter one day when my daughter was younger. She said, she would say, she would behave badly, and I would say, get on to her, and she'd say, I can't help it. It's in my DNA. And that's because her dad had a really bad temper. And she'd say, I can't help it. It's in my DNA. And I said, look, little girl. I said, and you got 50% your daddy's DNA and 50% your mama's DNA. So you can either choose to be at peace or you can choose to be angry. Mm. That's your choice, And that's kind of like what I'm trying to say to you guys is that everybody's got it in you. Every one of you guys, don't lie to yourself. It's all inside of you. You can flip a switch just like that and go dark. And the same thing, you can make the choice to go light, and you can be light, and you don't have to worry about, as a light person, I don't worry about other people's energy. I don't worry about somebody taking mine away. I freely give it. I produce enough energy that I can just, if somebody needs it, here you go, and I push it out and give it to them, because I produce enough that I can freely give it away, and I can easily reproduce that. There's no problem. The only time I get tired is when I freaking physically worked my body too hard and I'm falling to the ground, And so if you ever feel like that, that's because you've got dark energy that you don't have enough light in you. And if you've got plenty of light, giving it away is not a problem.
Yeah, because there's always going to be enough light. It keeps.
There's always plenty. It's like an endless source. You just tune right back into it. And the way you do that is by sitting in gratefulness, and you sit in love. And if you're sitting in pain and misery and worry and shame and fear and hate and all this other stuff and frustration and anxiety and depression and worry, if you're sitting in those emotions, you have about that much light. Okay. And this is not about pointing fingers. It's not about making you feel guilty. It just means go replenish, dude. Get rid of all that shit. Empty out your temple and start filling it with light. Get rid of it. Why carry all that stuff? There is no reason ever, ever to worry about anything, ever. Because most of the things that we worry about don't come true.
I learned that.
And then the extra things that do come true, we can't control. So there's like this much that we can control.
You can control your reaction and what you do, and that's about it.
That's it. And most of the things you end up being able to solve, it's like no big deal. How many times do you sit here and say to yourself, like, oh shit, I got that. That wasn't as bad as I thought. So it's like wasted energy on something. And that's where you're putting your energy. That's why your light dims. That's why when you get around negative people, they drain you. It's because you're worrying so much and you're using up all your energy source. You know, you see what I'm saying? It's like, don't do that and you'll have plenty of energy. So when somebody comes along, you can just go, here, I'll give it to you. And it's not a problem. You know, I see like 8, 10 people a day, and all of them, depression, anxiety, all kinds of issues, personality disorders, bipolar, you name it. I come home and I'm in a happy ass mood, never a problem, don't feel drained. In fact, I feel pumped. That's
good.
Yeah. So
I don't know how you do that, but yeah, that is good.
It's constantly filling myself with positive energy, and you know, and also get to see the reaps, you know, the rewards that come from work as well.
Yeah.
So it's not all bad. So I'm seeing the transformation happening. So it pumps me up. And, you know, like when I start seeing it and they start crying and, you know, and it's like, I'm so grateful. This has changed my life, you know, and it's like, it just fills me up. You know what I mean? It's a really good feeling.
I think it was Amanda mentioned about the full moon. I do believe it's this weekend, the 25th and 26th, we have a full moon. I think it's in Pisces, but don't quote me if I'm wrong. But I know there's a full moon this weekend. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I was speaking to a paramedic the other day. And one of the first things she said to me, because she asked me what I did, and she's like, oh yeah, I was telling everybody on the full moon, and it like that super moon really knocked us all for 6. And I was just thinking, wow, she's really like, it was a really nice conversation because she was so into all this, very open. Well, she used to be a reflexologist, so. But she was trying to teach the other paramedics about the energy of the full moon and how they're busier, and it really affected them energy-wise.
Uh-huh.
So that was interesting.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I actually really believe in that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, they've noticed. Yeah. I got a police friend, and he says that they have more call-outs, more fights, and he is not into all this stuff at all. And he says, I have to admit, you're right. We do have more. The numbers go up on full moon. And apparently certain full moons like Scorpio, like water full moons, are often worse than others for you know, fights. And he had to admit, he says, you're right. He says that's what happens, and he's not particularly into all this stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that all the time. When I start seeing a bunch of crazy crap happening outside, I'll ask Shane, I was like, is there something going on with the planets? You know, and he's like, yeah, there's a full moon. Or something like that, or Mercury's in retrograde or something, you know, he's actually pays more attention to that stuff. I have so much going on. I mean, from the second I wake up to the time I go to bed, that to fit more of that kind of stuff into my life is hard. So I usually depend on people like you or somebody else to tell me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like, hey, Mercury's in retrograde. Yeah, there's a full moon. You know, it's like, oh, okay.
I believe it's the 25th/26th. So I have to check. Apparently, you should look at the universal time of a full moon, because some people post in America that it's their time zone, but universal time apparently is the best. It's Saturday or Sunday, so I don't know if it crosses over to the two.
Well, I have a really goofy question, and you're probably going to laugh at me when I ask this, but I really am sincerely asking. So if there's a full moon in the US, is it going to be a full moon in the UK?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, it's a different part of the world, you know. It's like, do you view it differently? I mean, it could have a cast of a shadow or something. I don't know.
We all have that, but it'll show in different times, but really it's the same time, but because we're in different time zones. Like I was told by an astrologer, you should look at universal time. Mm-hmm. So that'll be the time universally that we should all look at, but other people might disagree. Yeah, I live on GMT, but UTC time is the time you should look at. Let's see when the full moon is. Full moon UTC on the 20th. See if it's the 25th.
Well, I don't feel so bad for asking a silly question now.
No, so I shouldn't have laughed.
I know. It's okay. It's okay.
It's not even funny.
I know how many times I've laughed at people who ask silly questions too, and I'm just like, it's okay, you know. And part of the reason I laugh when somebody asks a silly question is because it's usually because I probably asked it before myself.
Oh, okay, interesting. It's not the 26th. You see, now this is how information gets. I read somebody posted it was the 25th, 26th, and it's not. It's the 27th.
Interesting.
This is how, and it's 2020 Universal Time on July the 27th. So that's the bank holiday Monday then. Right, so it's a bank holiday Monday in the UK that day when lots of people will be drinking. So this, I'm going to put it in the chat, is the full moon. But it's Universal Time. It's 2020. Interesting.
2020. Okay. So, all right. So you guys, since there's a lot of people in the chat room and everybody's kind of moving around, talking a lot and stuff. So you guys, does anybody have any suggestions on anything that you want us to talk about? Is there any topics that you're interested in learning about, hearing about, chatting about? Please put it in the chat.
Oh, am I looking at the wrong month? Yeah, you're right. Sorry. I'm looking at July. It's August. It's the 26th.
Oh, okay.
See, even I'm open to getting things wrong. I was rushing ahead there. You're right. Apologies. Let me just... So who was that? Yeah, Mel Mac, right? It is. Do you know what? I've been getting the dates mixed up. I keep saying July. I kept saying my neighbour's going away the 21st of August, and she was going weeks before that. I'm like, what is going on?
Anton's about to have a birthday.
Yes, Anton's birthday is on my dad's birthday as well, so it's a very special day.
So his birthday, I don't know exactly what date it is, but
29th of August, same day as my dad. So I always remember his.
What day is that?
Well, that will be, is it Wednesday? Is that on his birthday next week?
Well, he said Wednesday that he was going to be older.
His birthday next Wednesday.
Okay. So we're going to have like a little birthday song for him on the show next week.
I'll sing happy birthday to, yeah.
I'll sing happy birthday to you, Anton. Just don't laugh at my singing voice.
I can't. Yeah, I always remember because and there's another guy, Johnny, somebody that comes in. It's his birthday that day as well. He's not here to say that. I'm trying to remove my comment. So yeah, do forgive me. I looked at, Mel Mac was right. I was looking at the wrong month because it's August, not July. I have lost, is everybody else doing this, losing track of days? The other day it was Friday and I thought it was Monday. Was it just me?
Fancy Feathers. Are you directing that at somebody in the chat room, or are you asking me?
See, I'm human. I get my dates wrong. That's because I was rushing it. They were right. It's the 26th. Katie and Mars retrograde.
I'm waiting on Fancy to answer my question. Hopefully she heard.
Yeah, that's probably just a bit of a delay.
Well, yeah, okay, so if you're still in the chat room, Fancy, if it is directed towards me, just send me an email. Okay.
It's because I stay up all night. No, seriously. I was doing a live on Friday, but we've had to reschedule because Sonia had to go out of London for work. She works for the BBC, so I'm obviously not going to say, no, you've got to cancel work to do our live. And I knew it was Friday. And then later in the day, I'm sat there thinking, oh, it feels like Monday today. And I'm like, what the hell? It's Friday. Yeah, I've done that. I've put the wrong, either the wrong rubbish out, the wrong week. Oh.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's pretty much...
yeah, like I said, has anybody got any questions about spiritual narcissists, or we covered as much? I mean, it's such a huge subject. We could be talking for days and weeks on this stuff. I'm going to try and get Dr. George Simon back on.
I'm
for a while.
I let me look in the chat room and see, and kind of flip through this and see if there's any kind of comments or questions that might need to be addressed. Let's see.
Yeah,
there was a lot of conversations going on that weren't about the subject.
That always happens, though.
Yeah. No, I don't really care. I love the fact everybody gets along and they're so cool and they're having fun.
Anton says, I think what Fancy means is that she enjoys how you calm people down, go through anxiety and depression.
No, I didn't know she was talking to somebody else in the chat room because I wasn't following the conversation. That's why I was asking, was she directing that at me? And because she said she would like to learn a little bit more about that. I think that was the last comment. So, yeah.
Those hang out, and I've not said hello to everybody. I did say earlier on hi to everyone in the chat because otherwise we spend half the live saying hello to everybody. Yeah, we'll do some more stuff on Narcissists, or I will on my own. I'm going to get Dr. George Simon back. He's really good. He did say to come back. I just think it's really important to teach people about this stuff. Women say I'm narcissistic. Can I trust their diagnosis? Iowa, that would really depend on how you are with women, but like that is probably a joke that you're written. I don't know you well enough to know if you're a narcissist, but I don't think you probably are.
If you're asking, you probably aren't.
Exactly.
So let me look back. I was looking at something that somebody said.
You ladies are balancing the things I've been consuming.
Okay, Fancy Feather says, it's scary even when you are surrounded by someone that is so perfect to themselves. And then Tim says the perfect one scares everyone the most. I absolutely agree with that. You know, it is freaking, you know, like when somebody comes across as being that way, that immediately, if they don't have a sense of humility, then you might as well just step away from them, because that's a huge sign that they're a narcissist, you know.
And when we're talking about narcissists, there's a spectrum, but we're talking about the full-blown NPD, you know, because there is a spectrum, and we're, as children or babies, we're all narcissistic at first to get our needs met, but we're talking about a full-blown NPD, not just like there's degrees of it. And I know we can't go around diagnosing people because we're not specialists, but these are just giving you tips to watch out for, particularly in the spiritual world.
There's a couple of comments in here that are some people that are really struggling with some issues. And you guys, honestly, this is what I do for a living. If you need some help, I mean, I hate the fact that I'm reading stuff where people are saying that they feel worthless and all this other stuff. I mean, that saddens my heart. It's like almost wanting to make me cry right now. So that's what I do. Okay. That's what I do. I transform people. And if you want the help, it's here. And I'm international now. I've got everything set up. So it doesn't matter where you live, you know, and so if you want help, it's here. Okay. So you don't have to suffer. That suffering can end the second that you decide that you're ready to be happy. So anyways, I had to say that.
We are all here for a reason, and we all have a path and a purpose. Nobody's worthless. Mike was asking, define narcissism. Wow. Okay. There's a few things they have zero empathy. They might appear to have empathy, and they can say they have empathy, but deep down they have zero empathy for you or anyone else. They are, it's sometimes difficult to spot them. They're so full of shame, which usually comes from it's usually born in childhood, because they're either, there's covert narcissists and there's overt narcissists, and then you've got the type that are smart and beautiful they're the worst types because they've got it all. So they can use their beauty and they can use their brains to trick you, to get their supply. They have they feel entitled to everything, very grandiose, very entitled. Everything's about them. They don't give a two hoots about you. They will drop you in a relationship like that and they will move on to someone else. They'll probably have multiple people lined up. These are just examples.
Well, do you know where narcissism came from, right? It's about that
Narcissus.
Yeah. What was his name?
Was it Narcissus?
Narcissus or something like that.
Narcissus, when he looks at his reflection in the water. But a lot of people think it's just somebody who is very beautiful. They can be very beautiful, but I misunderstood what narcissism was.
Well, I think that it was just used as a guiding point to start a whole thing. It's kind of like Coke, now, if you want a Sprite, a Pepsi or whatever, it's called a Coke, instead of a soda. I mean, it's kind of a all inclusive terminology that started with, somebody saying, hey, I see myself in the water and see your reflection for the first time and fell in love with them. And the
irony is they don't love themselves.
Right. And anyway, so that's where it came from, but the whole meaning has extended a whole lot more,
Yeah, because device compellers put many successful, happy or confident people narcissists, and it is heavily misused. That is not a narcissist. You can have successful, happy, confident people that are very loving and very empathic. A narcissist will have no empathy. And yes, they might be very successful, but they will be, they'll get to the top by just, walking all over people. It's hard to put it in a few sentences what a narcissist is. And Michael says
it's a me mentality.
It is all about them. Yeah. And you might not realize at first. This is why it can sometimes take weeks, months, even years. Michael says he's sorry to say I used to be some of that. Well, they say true narcissism, if you're the real bad end, cannot be cured.
I think a lot of times people, I think you guys are getting a little misconstrued here because, like I said before, we all have a little darkness in us, okay? And then as we shift and change, so it doesn't mean you used to be a narcissist and now you're not, I think that
if you're a narcissist, you're a narcissist.
Yeah.
You don't just
did you see that?
The lights went out. I'm not saying Michael's a narcissist, by the way, for the disclaimer, but if you were, you don't just stop being a narcissist. I'm giving an example just because he said that. I'm not calling him a narcissist.
Well, you know what, Fancy, you're absolutely right. It is difficult. That's supposed to be a strong spirit in your life. I agree with that. But
we can all have narcissistic tendencies, and there's a spectrum, but we're talking about full-blown MPD. Like, what do they say about sociopaths? All sociopaths and psychopaths are narcissists, but not all narcissists are psychopaths and sociopaths.
That's true.
There's a difference there, but also they will all have narcissism, but not all narcissists will be psychopaths. Right. Yeah, you got to go no contact. I think Kath is, she's a life path man, the same as me, if I remember. You have to go no contact if you're involved with someone like that, whether they're your spiritual teacher. You have to get the hell away from them. He's put, okay, maybe I used to be an asshole then. Well,
wait, what like scary shit? Just like Michelle said, no sense of humility. What do you think she means by that?
Was she meaning about narcissists, that they have no sense of humility?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all me.
And one of the best is a really big tip to deal with narcissists of any spectrum, wherever they are in your life, is do not show them emotion, because that's what they love. There's this great technique called grey rocking them, where you grey rock them. You become boring like a grey rock for the purposes of a narcissist.
Well, they like to feed off of the emotions.
Yeah, whether it's positive or negative, they love that.
Absolutely. Because they can control you with that. I mean, the more emotions.
Yeah, they keep you hooked in when you've just like got angry at them and you're upset, and they know you're bothered because you've just lost your temper with them. Yeah, they can't be cured. Not
shit.
The type we're talking about.
Okay, I don't know what that means by being missiled, but
What's that? Misled. I think she means misled.
Oh, I thought she meant missiled, like attacked, like, you know.
I think she said I was misled.
Oh,
that's exactly what I did. No contact is what I can do. And he was my spiritual teacher, in my opinion, for over 15 years. I think I was misled.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what it sounds like. And don't feel bad. I mean, you know, I'm sure we all have gone down that path, either by a preacher or something. You know,
sorry, I was just reading Ali and Jay's comment. I don't know if it's Ali or Jay that's here. Their parents used to call them a narcissist to control them. That's one way to screw you
up. That really is messed up.
That's messed up. That would screw your head up as a child. It's Ali. Okay. Yeah, that's
I think most everybody here has probably experienced a lot of the same things. We probably dated a narcissist. We probably had a spiritual teacher that was a narcissist. Probably have friends that were narcissists or parents that were narcissists, you know, or somebody at least in your family that is that way. You know, we've all been there, done that, been down that road. And, you know, in a situation like that, you're best just to kind of like, don't create a scene, don't create drama, don't create emotion, just step out of the picture and just kind of do it easily and gradually. So it's, you know,
and in some cases you have to go no contact. I've done it. Do you know, it's the best thing I ever did.
Yeah, absolutely. You just kind of step away from it and just move in a different direction. You know, if it's not serving you, then it's just not worth, you know, having that in the picture. What I usually ask people when they don't want to let go of somebody in their life, I go, what purpose is this person? In what way are they serving you? And most of the time there is something that there is some kind of benefit they're getting, which is why they're holding on. So you kind of have to ask yourself that question. If you can't let go, is how are you benefiting from this situation? Because the benefit may outweigh the pain. And sometimes that does happen. I mean, that's what, you know, I mean, that is where I was, you know, I like the benefit and I was very self-aware that, you know, I mean, my guides are like freaking out, screaming at me going, do you know what's going on? You know, and I'm just like, I'm willing, you know, to go this direction. I think it's something I need to do. And I did. And it was like, all right, you know, but they were like right beside me, like every single day, wouldn't leave me alone because they were very like protective in that situation. You know what I mean? And so,
yeah. Not mental. Yeah, you can love them from a distance, or I can't say I particularly love the narcissists that were in my life, but I don't wish them any harm, you know, because you don't want to be stuck in that. Just release them with love.
Well, I mean, and here's the other thing too, is we're talking about people that are in your life. But what about the YouTube narcissists, the narcissists that are out there, that people are like in those chat rooms all over them, emailing them, in constant contact, you know, the whole 9 yards with some of these people. And it's
rife on YouTube. I sit watching some shows and I'm like,
they're literally like worshiping that person. And, you know, I don't know. There's you know, it's just really interesting how people are sometimes. I swear. I really don't know which side is true and or what, but there's a woman that was a really big fame on YouTube. Her name is Teal Scott. And
Teal Swan.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. She changed her name.
What's her name? Scott at one point. Yeah. I was, she's an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, she went through a lot of abuse in her life, and her story is really interesting. And so at some point, somebody started leaking that they knew somebody that she knew and hometown, this, that, and the other, and started creating the storyline that everything she said was a lie, and she was a narcissist. Yeah, it's all fake, and that she was a narcissist, liar, a psychopath. What was this? Oh man, they call it personality disorder. I mean, they named off a whole lot of stuff, and she did some what do you call it, like reply videos or whatever you want to call it. And she even got interviewed a couple of times where people were like asking, when you said this, people were saying this, and she tried to credit herself back. But some of the things that were happening to her during this time was her child goes to school, and her neighbors' kids that have kids were like, they were telling their kids this, that, and the other, and her son was coming home crying and saying, you know, this, that, and the other, and it was just because he was getting attacked because of what the parents said. And sometimes what happens is that when people feel like they potentially might have been deceived, they go in a straight up rampage. Now, I don't know if she was lying or if she made the whole story, or maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But the fact that, you know, I mean, two wrongs don't make a right. Okay.
I mean, I've watched a lot of her stuff, and I'll be honest, I believed her. And
I believe her too. So
if she was lying, I just think, wow, that's a lot to lie about. And
really extravagant lie. I know. I mean, you would think she would slip up after years of doing this.
I mean,
her story was really constantly the same, you know.
If I'm wrong that she was fake, then I'd hold my hands up, but I feel she was telling the truth.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, and it was hard, you know, but she had a huge following. I mean, these people like loved her, worshipped her, but when the worshipers feel deceived,
they can turn.
They turn, I mean, bad.
But she may be telling the truth, and then again, those people have been.
They've been manipulated.
They've been manipulated. Say she is telling the truth, and then those that all turned on her, then believed it and turned on her. Look how easily they're influenced.
I agree. I agree 100%. Like if you can flip the switch like that, so you know, I don't know. It's. I honestly, I don't like to ever form an opinion on something like that. And if I knew her and sat down with her and had a conversation with her, maybe then I might be able to determine, you know, but it's just, even if it was a lie, is there any reason to be so hateful, like to destroy her whole career and her life and all kinds of stuff. I mean, from the way that she behaved, I don't think that she was always very, you know, throwing knowledge out there and helping. I didn't really see that she was ever doing anything that I felt had any kind of, I mean, like she didn't say, if you don't give me money, or, you know, I mean, I don't feel like she fell into the narcissistic category and anything that she did. So I'm not really sure why people started labeling her that way. And
there's another one, a lady called Fiona Barrett that I've been watching, who was, again, the Australian lady who has come out about the satanic ritual abuse. I haven't watched, I've watched some stuff. I feel she perhaps is telling the truth. Whether she's telling the truth, I just find it difficult to believe that anybody would go to such lengths and their story be consistent. You know, people slip up when they're lying, but when they're consistent in their stories.
Well, you know, here's the thing. I was actually watching Jeff and Jay the other day. It was the last show that Jeff and Jay did.
Okay, I've not seen that one.
You should watch it. It's actually really good. They were talking about, and I don't want to misquote. So basically, Jay was saying that when you get to a certain level, when you start to get into a certain amount of subscriptions, they either want to control you or they want to shut you down. And she was getting really big. So I would,
who was getting really big, Teal or Fiona?
Yeah. And then, like, I don't really know the person that you're talking about. I don't think I've ever seen anything.
Oh, okay.
But I would venture to guess if there was any, really large group, then a lot of times what they do is they want to shut it down because they don't like the message. It's the archons trying to control, and that's a whole nother subject. But
she's exposing a lot of famous people, like Nicole Kidman's father, and a lot of in the celebrity world. Satanic ritual abuse, so to her and other people. Okay.
So I think honestly, I kind of think that if I heard the show right, and I didn't go back to double check, but I think at some point Jay said that he was having a conversation with Rex, and Rex literally told him that because of the level that he was at, that they called him and they said, you can say this, this, and this, but not this, this, and this.
Who YouTube did?
I don't know who. Wow. I don't know if it was YouTube or somebody else. They made it sound like it was somebody else.
Oh.
And because it was hitting too big of an audience and having too much of an impact. So it's like we got to get control of some of the top dogs. And one of the things Jay said is they'll just shut you down. Now, if you really think about it, there's some really big ones out there that have literally been shut down or put on suspension. Like yeah.
Overnight, just shut down immediately. I've seen it with a couple of 100,000 or plus subscribers or millions. They've just shut them down.
There was, I don't remember her name, but she interviews people that are whistleblowers, and that's all she does. And she's like a reporter. Okay. And she's got, oh my God. She's got more followers than Rex. It's really, really huge channel. And she really gets some really big, high-end people saying stuff and letting things out that, they probably don't want out. And she got shut down. And she somehow or another was able to upload. She got stopped from doing live videos
she could upload. So she got a copyright.
I don't know. She was able to get one video up, and it was like, this is what's happening.
Right.
And I'm really upset. And then she was kind of shut down from there for a little while. And then I think she's back up again, but I don't really know. If
they take your channel down completely, that never comes back up. You have to start from scratch. Or they can just stop you from live streaming for 90 days, but you can upload videos. I know quite a few people that have.
Well, they gave her some kind of strike or something like that. She was on like a third strike kind of thing.
You get 3 copyright strikes in a row before one of them expires. You'll be taken down for live streaming. So she must have put.
But see, I don't really think she does a lot of live streaming, because what she does is she goes and interviews people and she records it. So I'm not really sure exactly how they were going to handle. Yeah.
But I uploaded a video from the 4 days that shook the UK. It was terrorist attacks, and I got a copyright strike for that. So I had to be really careful. I didn't get any more, so I've stayed away from stuff like that. 2 more, and they would have took me down if that one hadn't have expired. But it's expired now, and I've got a clean slate. And all it was stuff that's been on TV. It's nothing secret, and they wanted to. I got a proper copyright.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so yeah, it's crazy, but the thing is that's probably why. But I don't think, honestly, when we're sitting here trying to describe what a narcissist is, I don't think that Teal is one.
No, I don't think so personally, but.
No, she doesn't act like one at all. She's so good at what she does. And, hell, maybe there is a level of, from all the emotional abuse that she's gone through, she says she has to constantly heal herself, but she still has problems. She's very real. Still has problems with relationships. That's been a struggle in her life. And, I don't know. I don't see her as acting all full of herself. So.
No, I never have. I just wanted to make a plug, actually. I've collaborated with some other people, and
Yes, it was, by the way. It was Project Camelot. Thank you for saying that. I just can't remember the lady's name. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I'll have to put there's a YouTube channel I'm part of. I'll have to put in the link. We've literally just started it up. It's like just all the videos I do, if I want to, like I will put this up there, and I'll explain it to Michelle in private. It's a group of us that we're putting all our work on there, and then every Sunday starting from the 16th of September, we're going to do like a live round table talking about our experience of what's going on or what we've been doing, things like that.
It's kind of a joint channel kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's called Shadow Travelers, and it's a #1. I made sure we got the numerology. It's called Shadow Travelers, and yeah, we're building that channel up, and it's like there's 6 of us at the moment.
Interesting.
But we will be doing a live every Sunday from the 16th, because that's when everybody's the most around. It's not a round table show, but I don't like calling it a round table. They call it a round table. There's 6 of us that we're just getting together, doing a live like Michelle and I are doing, and they're all going to Cryptid Con in somewhere in America, so that like Bigfoot and all that. I'm not particularly into Bigfoot and Dogman and all that, but it'll be interesting to learn about it. So we're going to be talking about
that same group of people that you're always doing a show with.
Saturday Night Hive is probably going to stop, but a few just a few of us from that are going. Not ever, because sometimes it used to be anybody and everybody coming on, but it's not. It's going to be kept to a core group. So
sounds cool.
I will put the link to that channel if you want to subscribe to it. It's called Shadow Travelers.
Okay, awesome. All right. So anybody have any more questions, you guys, before we leave? The chat's been moving so quick I can't keep up with it.
It's been going about 2 hours.
Yeah. All right.
I'll put the link to the other channel in the comments afterwards, and if you'd like to subscribe, I'd really appreciate that.
Okay, you guys, real quick. Again, next week it's going to be on my channel. If you haven't subscribed, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do that right now so you get the notifications, and then that way you'll be able to watch the show. Okay. We can do, if you guys want to do, I mean, we've been talking about it and we still haven't done it yet, but we can do a show on shadow work next week if you want. You know, that is something that I do a lot. Thank you, Anton. You know, I do a lot of this kind of stuff with my clients, but the actual terminology and the breakdown of it is slightly different. So this will be really interesting to kind of talk about, because it's about, shadow work is actually about looking at your inner self. I mean, really deep inside who you really are and what's been suppressed. And you can suppress dark side and you can suppress light side. I mean, like there may be some really good things about you that you've suppressed because of other people. And then there might be some really bad things that you're suppressing because you don't want to look at.
So, because shadow work seems to get a lot of mixed people. But so many people misunderstand what shadow work is, so that would be a good one.
Yeah, I think
I've got my shadow behind me, and the reason I put this light on, I know it's not ideal, just to explain to everybody, especially at 2 a.m., the other light hurts my eyes. I have got quite sensitive eyes, so that's why I have my shadow behind me every time.
We need to send you some energy on your eyes.
I've been like that for years. Even as a teenager, I used to wear sunglasses a lot when I was outside. But like when it's 2 a.m., I do use that light, but when it's 2 a.m., it's just too much. Well,
since your eyes are so sensitive, can you see things that other people can't see? Like, do you see other colors or anything? Is there anything?
I don't. I just put it down to having mine like pale gray blue eyes, and I just put it down to they're just sensitive because they're pale. And apparently, blue eyes let more light in. And Lewis and I have got really pale. He's got really pale blue eyes. Mine are more like grey blue.
Do you have to wear sunglasses when you walk outside?
Yes, all the time. Even if it's not sunny, I often wear them as well. Well,
I mean, the answer is just go inner earth, girl. I mean, just move inside. Go inner earth. Go live with the inner earth beings.
Yeah, it's just, I just live, learn to work with it. Yeah, right. Let's do shadow work next week. That would be good.
That sounds great. That sounds great. Okay, you guys. So that's what we're going to be doing. It'll be live on my show next week, Wednesday at 8 p.m. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And
it'll be Anton's birthday, so we will all sing happy birthday to him.
And you guys, I don't know how many is in the chat room. Hold on a second here. We have 25 in the chat room. You guys, I know it's not showing because we've blocked that where you can see it. But if you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. Thumbs up. Yes, please hit it. What that does is it actually, like when you sign on to YouTube, it puts it in the forefront for other people to see that are not subscribers. So that other people can kind of come in and join and say, hey, you know what? I saw this, and then maybe they'll like see something else that Trisha's done that, they really liked as well. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I'm about to upload all the September love readings. I'm going to do couples and singles. Aries is up already. So there's all them to come up, and yeah. And whatever Michelle's work's doing, that's why it's good to keep the algorithms up.
What is he? I didn't see that. What are you talking about?
What was that?
What did you just say?
I said I've uploaded the Aries. Like
no. You said something about the algorithms or something.
The algorithms, like the more thumbs up you get, if you get 95% or more thumbs up,
you get
seen more.
Oh, yeah. That's what it's called. It's algorithms.
Yeah, algorithms. You get seen more.
Okay. You get seen more. Right, exactly. So that's kind of the whole point. You need to have like 95%
thumbs up.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, if you could do that, I'd appreciate it. It would be awesome. Anyway, so that's kind of where we're at. So, anyway, I guess that's it, you guys. Anything else?
Yeah. No, I think that's it.
All right.
We'll see you next week on Michelle's channel. If you just want to hang on, Michelle, and I'll make sure I press the right button. Thanks for everyone for coming in. It's been a great night and great conversation.